In the year 2010, I was a Chinese student that was taught and brainwashed into believing that students at Ivy League universities are geniuses. I could have never imagined that I would end up here at an Ivy League. So seeing that this is my last video of the decade, I thought I could take a moment to reflect upon this past decade and talk about the events and my growth that led me, well, here to my Cornell office. 2010 was easily the worst year in my life thus far. I was struggling to grasp the Chinese culture and I was constantly being bullied for looking like a Chinese but not knowing the Chinese culture. Then the bullying did stop for a bit before the summer of 2011 since people were studying for their high school entrance exams. I also did my best to study, but I remember thinking that it was all ultimately worthless. However, I did really want to get into my dream school, which was the best school in Shenzhen at the time, but I had no idea if I could make it. And after taking the exams and the scores came out, I didn't even make the cut for the top 10, let alone the best one. I was extremely devastated. This was it. I had no future. Immediately after the test scores came out, my dad, who is an evil genius, started searching up the test scores of specifically 2 other students. You see, prior to all this exam business, I had signed up to be an athletics student. No, not for any sort of sport, but for chess, specifically Chinese chess. There were 3 students going after the 2 slots they offered, and naturally I came in last. However, one of the requirements for getting a slot is that you must score higher than 550 points on the actual high school entrance exam. After the scores came out, my dad immediately checked the scores of these 2 other people, and one passed, but the other, he got 549. He was out. I was in. I still can't believe my luck to this day, but now I had come face to face with one of the most rigorous high school curriculums in all of Shenzhen, or even in all of China. Better yet, I knew I got in with one of the lowest scores on the high school entrance exam. Yeah, now looking back, that definitely kickstarted my imposter syndrome. However, back then I was just this kid that just got accepted into a dream school, so yippee! I signed up for all the STEM opportunities the school had to offer. This ultimately, well, months after I get in, my parents get a call. They had gotten my contact information from a physics competition I had gotten 2nd place in, and they wanted me to apply to this early entrance to college program in Missouri. You have to understand, I had just gotten into my dream school and was not about to leave after a year. But my parents convinced me to go apply to just get a hang of the application process, and so I did. And I got in. I was pretty set on not going, but that didn't happen. I stepped into the US summer of 2012 and took my first class on Intro to College Writing. And after just a semester in the US, I was hooked. 2012 to 2014 at Northwest Missouri State University was an era of exploration for me. I learned the American culture, I got used to speaking English on a daily basis, and I discovered YouTube, which ultimately led me onto this channel, and I also discovered all the other social media platforms from back then. But towards the end of all that, it was time to actually think about college. And I applied to colleges fall 2013, got accepted spring 2014, and I went on college tours during my spring break that year. Ultimately, I decided on Case Western Reserve University. Freshman year of college was another one of those terrible years. I didn't have a lot of friends. I had just joined robotics and rocket team, and so I felt like I didn't have a lot of say in what the clubs were up to. The classes weren't that fun. It was all that good stuff, you know. I remember telling myself sophomore year that I had to make life more awesome for myself. And then it happened. I joined this channel, I started doing Veritasium work, I met some amazing friends and mentors, and ultimately I just stepped out of my shell and got to showcase what I have and what I'm made of. The people that liked me were attracted to me, and the people that didn't like me, well, I don't know where they went. Since this channel details pretty well the events after I've joined, I figure I should end the story here. The past years at Case and this past decade have definitely transformed me, and I'm looking forward to what this next decade has in store. See you guys next decade.